I'm going to do that real quick and have my IT guy come grab that and put that in the other room because he's amazing. Hello, happy Monday. My dogs are usually put upstairs. Today we put them outside, and they're going to make a lot of noise for a little while. What can you do, right? Today we're going to start out, we are making Easter breakfast today. We are making a coffee cake, a gluten-free one, of course. Then we are making a frittata, which is naturally gluten-free. We are going to make a fruit salad, again, naturally gluten-free. And then I have what I'm going to call a riff on eggs benedict. So we'll get to that. But so stay tuned for that part. It'll be fun. But the first thing we're going to do, because I didn't get to do it beforehand, thought about it, but just didn't get to it. Okay, I forget very often to butter the pan when I make a coffee cake. And they've been known to stick when I do that. So we're going to start by doing exactly that today. We are going to butter our pans. And we're going to butter more than one pan at one time because I just want to get it all done at one time. Because we have several things we need to actually do that with. Today is a butter heavy day. If you're not into butter, this may not be your meal, but that's okay. Also, if you're in the chat, we're working on getting that set up so I can read it and I can see you guys. For those of you who might have been here last week and said hello and I didn't say hello, apparently the streaming software that we were using filtered out all of those YouTube highs, hellos that are automatic. So my apologies for not saying hi back. I'm still learning the whole streaming thing. So, all right. Vehicle number one. I'm going to call it a vehicle because it's the vehicle for our gluten-free coffee cake. All right, that's number one. Then the second thing we're going to do is we're going to make a frittata or an egg casserole. Call it what you want. It's very similar. We're going to do that, and we are going to also grease up that pan a little bit. And while I'm scooping it out, I'm going to put a little bit in each one of these ramekins here that we're going to deal with later. Okay. So I think that's all I'm going to need. Ooh, the dishes we had last week. There'll be a lot of dishes this week too, but hopefully I've got things a little more organized than I did last week. Oh my goodness, it was quite the mess. And it took me probably 45 minutes to clean up my kitchen. I have learned to be a clean as you go, and clean as you go in my book means it goes into the dishwasher most of the time. But I do have a few things that I cook in for my videos that I do not, I don't put them in the dishwasher because they can get really scratched. Glass scratches sometimes if you're not careful. So everything is greased up, ready to go. And if you're new here, there are certain things like meat and stuff I don't really like to touch. Butter's not usually a problem, but I knew I wanted to be done and move on quickly. So that's why we did this. By the way, these are biodegradable. I will put a link in the chat or in the description, which I forgot to do earlier, but I will make sure that I put a link in there for that if you're interested. Okay, so first thing, we are going to make ourselves a gluten-free cinnamon swirl crumb cake and muffin mix. And you know what? Here's the thing. And a lot of people want to make everything from scratch. I'm not that girl. So hopefully, hey, Kimberly. Okay, that's my friend. That's my friend Kimberly. We have been, she's in the chat, and we have not, We have been friends for, we figured it out the other day, about 20 years. And it's amazing how fast 20 years flies. Um, so I've pre-measured some things just to keep things going quickly. One of the things I did, because Kim, you're probably going to get a laugh out of this. One of the things I'm not great at is cracking eggs. I tend to get shells in there. And so with everything I have to do today, I have like 19 eggs to crack. So I decided to pre-crack some of these eggs and make life easier for myself and probably you, because the last thing you guys need to do is watch me digging shells out of a, which is also why when I do, you'll see me when I do eggs, I tend to do them in a smaller container and then put them all in a bigger container together for that very reason. So I need the water, which is 1/4 cup, and the vegetable oil, which I'm going to open this because it'll take forever if I go through the little spigot there. I need 1/3. And I know a lot of people would not use olive oil. I use it all the time. I prefer it. Yes, it's a heavier taste, but for something like this, it actually doesn't matter. So, really doesn't. So there's that. And then with glass, I use a rubber coated whisk. Oh, and the eggs, which I have pre-broken. So there are, so yes, I have extra dishes because of that. So here's 4 eggs. Yes, 4 eggs. And the reason there's 4 eggs, I will tell you this, is because it's gluten-free. Gluten-free flours tend to absorb a lot of moisture. And so you have to put a lot of extra moisture in there when you first make it. And what that does is it gives you a much softer crumb. It also will just give you a better tasting cake. It'll be less sandy, if you will. That's the big complaint with a lot of gluten-free baking, is things are sandy. So anyway, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this. I've made this one other time, but I'm going to have to watch the, so I need about half of the batter. Where did I put that? There it is. That's my oven coming to temp. We're going to use that later. We're actually going to put this in there. So we need about half of this in the bottom. And honestly, it's an 8x8, so it's a rather small cake. And so, again, very thick batter. You're going to see that. I might put just a tiny bit more because I want to make sure it's fully covered on the bottom. All right, so there's that. And I'm going to get a spatula. I did forget to get that. Okay, so spatula, we're going to spread it on the bottom. And if you notice the apron, I bake because punching is frowned upon. Punching people is frowned upon. And people have been annoying me lately, so this is how I'm going to behave myself, by actually doing this. All right, so this already has a lovely streusel type mixture on it. And I'm going to open that up. I'm going to do about half of that. And I'm going to, it's really moist, so I'm going to use my hands for that. go. Get that spread around so it gets to the edges, because that's why people don't like the corner pieces, man. Because they get, none of the fillings ever quite make it. So I make sure that when I'm doing stuff like this, that it makes it to the corners. All right. So there's that. And then we're going to take the rest of this. And we're going to put it on top. Oh. All right. So here's the thing. I mean, we're pretty traditional with Easter. Now my kids, I only have one adult child still living at home, so the Easter Bunny doesn't come anymore. So, okay, somebody retracted their message. Interesting. But now I get this mix. I know you can get it online, but it's really expensive. I don't know why the resellers do that. It's just somebody was talking about it the other day, and I looked it up because I thought they were messing with us. There are resellers that are selling these mixes for like $16 a piece. Now, they're not cheap. Don't get me wrong. Gluten-free baking is not a cheap thing, but that's ridiculous. And that's just being horrible. Of course, then again, I heard when the worldwide turmoil started last week, the people started buying up all the water and toilet paper again. So, you know, people are going to people, I guess. It's just, I wish we could think of the other, not just ourselves. And frankly, the thing is, I know some people say, well, that's because of what happened during COVID. And trust me, I know. I was down to my last roll, and I finally found some. Thank goodness. But here's the thing that I learned from that little life lesson was that I now strategically buy one small thing of toilet paper every time I go. And over the last few years, I have now, and I'm gonna use the word intentionally, I have amassed enough that we will survive. Pretty much anything. But the other thing about that is, and I don't know if you guys can see me, I'll just keep talking. The other thing about that is that we invested in a bidet. Very European thing to do. I am so glad we did it. I probably use it, and ours is heated, so that's another thing. I will tell you, spend the money. Get the heated one. Especially if you live where I do in the north, where your water gets really cold in the wintertime. So, but, you know, I'd rather adapt to things like that and figure out ways to just reduce your usage. I may not have used half in the middle, but that's okay. You'll still get it. So, we are going to finish that up. And again, I'm going to wash my hand again. I'm telling you, if I had my choice, I would very much have I would have like an island with the sink in it where I could cook. That would be awesome. So, yeah, I still make baskets. Obviously, I have one kid in California. He doesn't get a basket. A lot of times we'll just send them some candy or something. We'll order it and have it delivered to their place. And my kids are all well into adulthood. So, and I love that you still give her a basket. I do a family basket for my grandkids. So there's always a little something in there for their parents as well. All right. So we are going to use our handy dandy oven. I love this thing. It's a mess. It looks awful. I'm going to do it that. Okay. And I believe, okay, I need to move this up. Yes, it looks like right in there. I don't care. People who have perfect looking ovens don't cook. I'm telling you. Um, and I know Kimberly knows that because she cooks. So you don't have the most beautiful ovens in the world. If they look perfectly clean, somebody else is cleaning them, not me, man. I clean them when they're dirty, but these things are hard to clean. They really are. I love it, but it's really hard to clean. So anyway, all right. So this is going to go in for 30 minutes. Yes, I'm going to pop it in before it's up to temp, but the reason I'm doing that is it does come up to temp really fast. I'm going to rinse this off because I want to need it again. Because again, I am going to be using glass. So here are 10 eggs because we are going to make a frittata. And so I have 10 eggs here. I usually use between 8 and 10. I used 10 today because I had brought up another thing of eggs to put in my refrigerator and I don't have room for 2. So I had 2 eggs left, so I put them in here. So I went with 10 instead of 8. The other thing is, if you were around last week, you know I used some buttermilk and I needed to use that up. So I often put milk in here just to kind of give it a little extra viscosity. And even though buttermilk isn't quite as viscous as regular milk, I went ahead and did that. So I just realized I did not need to do that pan because I could have done it, and I am going to do it actually. I hate when I do that. Okay, I got it out and changed my mind. So there's your little extra chaos for today. I don't need that pan, and I'm not going to need to grease the other pan. So my hands are clean. Going to do a little dry mustard, somewhere between quarter. I might go a little more than that because I did the 10 eggs. Between a quarter and a half a teaspoon. You don't need a lot. And it doesn't taste like mustard. Promise. I promise. I promise. I'm not a fan of mustard. I don't know that I cook much of anything that's savory without putting a little bit of garlic and a little bit of onion, a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder in there. It just needs a little bit. And then here's a little fun fact that I learned while I was learning about herbs and why certain things are used with other things. Black pepper actually helps your body absorb other nutrients. I think that's a pretty cool fun fact. Okay. So there's that. I'm going to go grab my frying pan. I have pre-cooked a pound of sausage. And if you happen to see it, it's not completely cooked through. Not all of it is completely cooked through. And that's okay because it's going in the oven for half an hour. It will cook while everything else cooks. So I cook that and then I try to chop it up pretty small. And there you go. So And then I also had some frozen broccoli. I pre-cooked that about halfway. So I don't want it mushy, but I want it to be able to, I want it done. So, and there's a couple big pieces, so I'm going to smush those up. So, okay, so here's the thing. If you've ever made a frittata before, what's your favorite thing in a frittata? Because I love broccoli. I love asparagus. If I want to make something really light, I'll make it with like asparagus. And I would love to put feta cheese in it. My family's not huge fans of feta, but if I'm just making a small one for myself, I'll probably use feta in there. So I've got broccoli cuts. I usually use chopped broccoli, but all I had was broccoli cuts. The other thing I have is a can of diced potatoes. Now, here's the thing. You can take a large potato, dice it up, do it yourself. Today, I wanted it to be fast and easy. If I was doing it on Easter Sunday, I would want it to be fast and easy. I might have taken a little extra time on Easter if I was doing it for Easter to brown up the potatoes a little bit, but trust me, nobody in my family is going to complain about this because this is just a dish we really, really like. And then I'm just trying to incorporate everything together. So I don't have like a bunch of broccoli in one spot and a bunch of potatoes in the other. And that looks like it's pretty well incorporated. Okay, and then I'm going to move this guy back over here. It's over there, so I can't reach that right now. Now, there's a couple schools of thought on a frittata when you're using cheese. Some people put it in the mix. Some people put it on later on. I tend to do a little bit of both because I don't like all the cheese in there because then again, you get like blobs. But I don't want it all to just rest on the top. So, I got smart this week and put some stuff right off camera where I'm not chasing it all over the kitchen like I was last week. Hopefully I get a little smarter every week with this stuff and it's not quite so chaotic. I can almost promise you there's always going to be a little chaos because, I am a bit of a chaos monster. What can I say? So I'm going to throw that in here. Maybe toss a little bit on top of here just for funsies. So give this a good whisk again so we get all the goodies in there. I'm going to pull this out and we are going to just gently pour this in. Make sure we'll get it all around. And the thing is, it's going to look like there's not enough. It always does. I'm always like, oh, did I do enough? Did I do enough? And then once I get it done and I realize the eggs poof up, and my family prefers it to be like really full. They don't want it super eggy. They like it to be like full of the ingredients. So, but I do like to try to make sure everything gets coated. Now, these are, hang on. Ooh, I don't like it when glass is hanging around. Okay, so the thing about this is, these are new pans. We've not used these in the oven, but they are oven safe. And so we're going to be putting that in the oven. I love those kind of skillets when they're oven safe, and I can cook my sausage in there, and it ends up being, if this was dinner, which we've been known to do before, if this was dinner, we would have a one-pan meal, and it's so easy to clean up. So I'm excited about that. I'm always excited about that. So I'm going to pop this in the oven, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is going to go for about 30 minutes. Ooh. And it's a heavy thing, that's for sure. 30 minutes. We're going to check that in 30 minutes and see how she's doing. If you got my email, if you're on my email list and you got my email, I did talk about the fact that I might use some sun-dried tomatoes. I decided not to. I like them. My family doesn't that much. So I would do that for me, but I'm not gonna do that today because they would just prefer that I didn't. I'm also going to put this on to cook on a low heat so that it melts. This will be for, we're going to make some Hollandaise sauce in a little bit. So, yum! All right. So I'm going to put that on a low heat. So I need that to melt, but I need it to melt at a low heat, which is a really interesting thing. So, all right, while this is cooking, we got about 20 minutes left on that. Whoops. Oh, okay. My IT guy's gonna do something for me here real quick. But so I see, I'm gonna call you Raza and Saro. I don't know. Might have to help me. But you guys said hi. I'm saying hi back. Next, we're gonna cut up some fruit. Okay, in my house, we used to host Easter for my husband's entire family. And when I say entire family, there were 65 people, somewhere between 65 and 70 people at Easter. The long story behind that. I don't host Easter anymore. I wish I did, but I don't. So we just do our own thing now. All right. Anywho, actually, there's part of me that's glad that I don't, and there's part of me that's that wishes I still did. So here's my take. I have a sister-in-law. When I used to host Easter, everybody brought something, or a lot of people used to bring something. And I had a sister-in-law. I still have this sister-in-law, but my sister-in-law used to bring the fruit salad. And God love her, she went out and bought all these things. She would also have bought a watermelon, strawberries if they look good, maybe thrown in some raspberries, and she cuts it all up. I do like it when I also have grandkids, so you know what? I don't want to be sticky when I'm done. So I'm going to grab another glove to keep them very handy. And just so you know, these are biodegradable. That's why I love them. Is that Lenader? I don't know. I'm sorry. Oh, I try, guys, with your names. And sometimes it's just a handle, so it doesn't really matter to you. But back to this. My grandkids love fruit. So I would most definitely cut everything up bite-sized for them. I got this at Costco, and I was going to get it at Kroger, but I got twice as much fruit for the same price as I would have at Kroger. So sometimes Costco wins. And yes, I love Costco. I love Costco because I know they treat their employees well. I know they pay their employees well. I didn't realize until not too long ago that they actually do have a pay differential for weekend workers, which I think is awesome. Also, I don't think they do it anymore, but I am a strong believer in cutting the grapes for little ones because it just, if somebody has little ones and they ask you to do something, unless you're going to put them in danger, it doesn't hurt to do it differently than we did it. I'll give you an example. Like, I always cut my kids hot dogs when they were little. And the wisdom of the day used to be to cut hot dogs like down the middle and do half moons. Well, the wisdom of the day has changed, as it does. And now they tell you to cut them into fourths. And I know there's people who are like, oh, why should I have to do that? You know? And it's like, well, if it makes the people that you love the most feel better, why wouldn't you? Right? So, and I know the conventional response to that is sometimes, well, my parents did this and I turned out fine, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I get what you're saying, but you know, when my mom was little and she had croup, her mother put kerosene on a little bit of sugar, put kerosene on sugar and fed it to her as an infant. Now, it got rid of the phlegm, but I wouldn't give my kids or grandkids kerosene. I know better than that. So, you know, it is definitely it's just a thought process. What are you going to do with it, right? Also, about this fruit salad here. I would put more color in here if I could. And actually, I do have some strawberries in the refrigerator that when we sit down to eat them, I will slice them up because strawberries get slimy quick in fruit salad. So I'm going to make this probably, well, this will be for dinner tonight. So that's a deal we just came upon, is that after I do these lives, I love them. I love cooking for you guys, but I'm tired, you know, and the last thing I want to do after cooking for an hour for you guys is to cook for another hour for my family. So we've kind of made a deal that Mondays are whatever I make, we're going to have it for dinner, whether it's, you know, heated up or whatever. So, so that is the, that's the deal. Also generally on Tuesdays, my son and I we record recipes. So Tuesday is becoming clean out the fridge night. It also happens to be our garbage night, so it works out really well. But anyway, and because I work from home, just so you know, my husband will cook. He likes to cook. We actually bonded over cooking. We have cooked all kinds of stuff together. We've cooked beef. He likes the more challenging stuff. So we've made beef Wellington together. Our son helped with that one. We make a lot of big family dishes. If there's a funeral or something and they need barbecue made for, 20 people or more, we do that. We make 10 pounds. We use 10 pounds of meat at Christmas time for my husband's family for their barbecue. Just those are the things we do. So I do the vast majority of the daily cooking because I'm home more than anything. My family does and will cook. And they do also, I make them participate in what we're going to have on a weekly basis. So there you go. It's a simple, do it the way you want. If you like raspberries, put in raspberries. I'm allergic. If you like blackberries, put in blackberries. I'm allergic. Not that you would put this in a fruit salad, but avocados are in a similar family, botanically, to raspberries and blackberries. I found out that avocados were a berry because I had an allergic reaction to them. And when I looked, I was like, well, dang it, that explains it, because they have a similar structure botanically to avocados. Or avocados are similar to raspberries and blackberries. So kind of a bummer for me, especially because I love the taste of all of those things. And I don't think I'm actually allergic to the fruit, because I can have a coulis. I got to go turn my butter off. I can have a raspberry coulis and I don't react. But if I eat a raspberry, my throat itches. And I found out I was allergic to I found out I was allergic to avocados because I had a friend who I had never had guacamole, and she's like, "Oh, well, let me make you some." So she made me some guacamole, and um, it was delicious. And on my second chip, I said to her, "I also have a peanut allergy." I said, "You don't have any peanuts, or this is going to sound weird, or any raspberries or blackberries in this, do you?" And she's like, "No, it's just avocado, tomato, onion, and some spices." And I was like, "Well, I think I need to stop." And she's like, "Why?" And I said, "Because I'm having an allergic reaction." Which, she's an internist, so she was like, "What?" I was like, "No, I'm fine. Really, I'm fine." Um, so we laughed about that, but these things happen. So sadly, sometimes we have to deal with that. Ooh, is this split already? Ooh, I might be really excited about this. All right, this is a gluten-free English muffin. And I don't need a sharp knife, but they are not completely, I thought they were split, but it's not. So again, I can tell just by feeling these, but then again, they are dry. Okay, English muffins tend to be a little dry. So on this riff, I'm not going to toast them. I am going to, and they fit beautifully in the bottom of my ramekins. So I'm putting them in here. I have a couple pieces of, and I know this is called different things around the world. If you're from outside the United States, what do you call this? We call this Canadian bacon. And that's what we put on eggs Benedict. And then the thing is, the muffins are already cooked, and the Canadian bacon is already cooked. So the next thing we're going to put in each one of these is an egg. Pray for me. Okay, so one egg. Two eggs. And 0. All right, get in there. Get in the middle. Okay, lesson learned. I think if I did this again, I would make sure that middle had kind of a dent in it, so the yolk would be more inclined to be in the middle. So, all right. That's the wrong thing. That being said, these need to cook for 8 to 10 minutes. I wanted them to go for about 8, so this is actually going to work out beautifully. I am going to pop this open and put in, can it fit? Well, I'm going to have to drop this a little bit lower than normal, which is fine. And then I'm going to put my eggs in here. So instead of poaching them, we're going to bake them. And we'll just see how it goes. All right. Toss these with my other ones. If you're a gardener, your eggshells are great for your garden. What the nitrogen. Okay. All right. So clearing the decks, because the next thing we're going to make is some Hollandaise sauce. Oh, I need my cutting board back. I only use that for fruit, so that'll work. Dun, dun, dun. All right. One thing I did not do. Okay, this Hollandaise recipe is one that I've adapted, and I will put my adapted recipe in the once I'm going to write that up today, and I'll put the link in. I'll either pin it in the comment or I'll put it in the description for you. I only happened to have Meyer lemons one time when I did it, and I was like, oh my goodness. Meyer lemons are the way to go. This stuff is so good. And I only need about a tablespoon of lemon juice. So I'm gonna, all right, something else I learned. This one won't work with this one. It's too big. But if you can turn it upside down, it actually juices your lemon better. Did you know that? I didn't. And I saw somebody do it once. I was like, wait a minute, am I doing this backwards? Oh, this one's smaller. Okay, I think we'll be able to do that. All right, it actually will get all the juice out. And like I said, I only need a tablespoon, so I won't need all of this for this particular thing. But yeah, you won't believe how much more juice you get out of your produce when you do that. I mean, this is, I did get a little, that's way more than a tablespoon. But I'll juice the other one later when you guys aren't watching. So, all right. Now, I'm going to do this in my Ninja. For the first set of things, I'm going to go ahead and, all right, I'm going to put the juice without, pop that in there. Now, I need 3 egg yolks. Some people do it with their hands. I do it with this thing, just because. Again, it's my egg situation. Oh, okay, that was on the bottom. Thought I got a shell in there. I was like, I didn't think I did. All right, I can smell the coffee cake. It smells so good. Okay, so, yuck, gross. Anybody else get grossed out by that? I don't like touching these things, but I prefer not to have them in my stuff either. All right, 1 egg yolk. This isn't like when you're making a meringue where you can't mix the two, but it's just best not to have too much. So, oh, that's a tough one. Did not want to crack. And now it's going to splinter. Love it. Okay. Hopefully it doesn't lose it there. Okay. Alrighty. Hey, just reminding you, if you're enjoying what you're watching, I would be ever so happy if you would subscribe. We are on the march to try to get 1,000 subscribers, and we got a long way to go. So if you would subscribe, we would be ever so grateful. Alrighty, here we go. Yep, there's one in there. I don't need this for anything, so I'm not too worried about it. Usually I do one at a time because of that. Because there is now an eggshell at the bottom. But again, unless I'm going to use it for something else, and I don't think there is anything else I'm going to make today that I would use that for, or even this week, because you can put it in your fridge for a little while. So there's my 3 egg yolks. And then You can put a little cayenne in here. Not my favorite thing, so I'm not going to. Also, if you use unsalted butter, which it calls for, but it also says if you're using salted butter, it's fine. Just do not use the salt if you do that, because it's overly salted. So, all right, we got about 2.5 minutes left. The thing is, you need your butter still hot, but not so hot it's going to cook your eggs. So let's hope. Now, this is really noisy, but it's really a good blender. So I'm going to put this on low, and then get these to lighten up in color. And the butter cooks the egg yolks. That's the thing. That's why you still need it hot. That may not be hot enough. I'm going to warm that up for just a sec. Okay. Hopefully that did it. These are nice and lemony colored. It automatically stops after a minute. I'm going to say goodbye to this juice just because I don't want to pour out of the pan and make a giant mess. So, goodness me. All right. So we're going to turn this back on. Just drizzle it in nice and slow. Once you're about halfway there, you can go a little faster. Okay. Check and see if my eggs are done. Yeah, they need a couple more minutes. So we're going to drop this down to about 3 or 4 more minutes. And I'm going to take a quick look at the... There they are. I'm going to take a quick look at the coffee cake. See how we're doing there. Nope, it's still a little jiggly. So we're going to cook everything. Let's make it 4 more minutes. So we're going to get that cooking again. Okay, get this out of the way. I'm going to move this out of the way. I may need this, so I'm not going to go too far because I might need some more lemon juice. We'll see. Because the next thing we need to do is taste that. I'll tell you what, I know for a lot of people, Vitamix is like the number one, but I got to tell you, if you don't have the $400 for a Vitamix, y'all, that is so good. Oh, so good. Now, what this suggests is until you're ready to use it, you put it in a container, and it's really only good for about an hour or so. It tells you after about an hour you should not be using it. But I'm telling you, for this dish that we're about to do, and for the and for like asparagus, oh, so good. Now I don't know what I would use to thicken that up a little bit. Maybe another egg yolk, but I'm gonna put this over on the stove, and while I'm doing that, so it can stay nice and warm over there, which is what we need it to do. And I'm gonna check the I am gonna bump the oven up to about 375. So put this in the dishwasher or the sink. And we're going to clean up our space a little bit. The thing is, on holiday, you don't want to be rushed. You don't want to be like throwing everything together at the last minute. Really, you freeze Hollandaise sauce? That's amazing, Nancy. I did not know that. That is a new thing for me. So I might try that. I might try freezing a little bit of it and seeing. And then how do you thaw it out if you freeze it? Do you microwave it? Do you just let it like slowly warm up in a pan? I'd be curious about that. So, like I said, I would love to make it more, but it's just, I don't know what to do with it if I don't use all of it. So, but I bumped up the oven because it's not cooking quite as fast. And like I said, this is a new pan for me, and the pan wasn't already hot when it went into the oven. So, there's things that you got to adjust for. And I really want you guys to see the finished products because I think they're going to be really, really good. How are eggs doing? They're looking pretty good. We'll see what they look like in 30 seconds, see if they're ready to come out. So that might be the first thing we do. Although, obviously, if I make it a plate, which has got a little water on it, that's the oven coming to temp again. Now, I would probably, depending on what I was eating and when, I would probably get a bowl for my fruit salad, obviously. But since it's my family, I can pick out of it with my fingers. You do you. I wouldn't do that on Easter. I'm going to try something. Yeah. Okay, and these are the reasons I like to do make-ahead things for like holidays and stuff, because those eggs are jiggly. And yet the one's getting cooked on the top without cooking the bottom. That's so interesting. All right, let's see what the coffee cake's doing here. Look at the bottom. I'm going to take just a peek in the middle of this. Make sure it's not, because it's getting really, like, oh no, it's still real juicy in the middle. So we're going to put that thing back. All right. So these are the things that happen, and sometimes you gotta punt, So again, this is my house. This is my family. I'll eat most of this anyway. So we're gonna have a little fruit salad while we wait. All right. So answer me this. Riddle me this. Do you like fruit salad? And if you like it, what's your favorite thing in there? Or is there something you do not like it when they put it in the fruit salad? For me, unless I'm going to be eating it that day, I do not like strawberries in a fruit salad. Obviously, I used to love raspberries, but again, not after the first day because they get all mushy. I'll be right back. Oh, it's looking good, guys. Needs to go a little bit longer. But I would love to know, what do you like in a fruit salad? I like melon. I like pineapple. I didn't grow up eating blueberries, and I found as an adult that I love them. Honestly, the fruit I grew up on was mostly fruit cocktail. And red apples. Good old Macintosh. Again, not the best. I still like apples. I prefer Gala. My family likes Granny Smith. That's a little too tart for me. So we do use Granny Smith, and I'll make these closer to November. My husband's family has and we've adapted that one as well. But the best baked apples. Oh, they're so good. And we have a lot of ways to make that a lot faster. That's one of the things I like to do. And I'll be talking about that next week. We're going to be talking about Easter brunch. And we're actually going to cook less because it's going to be a lot easier with what I'm going to put on that. If you want to make sure you are able to get all that information ahead of time and know when that's going to be, you can go to the gluten-free from the 513 our blog page, and at the bottom of that page, actually I think I put one up top where it says just join the email. And what I do is I give you the recipe, or I give you the menu and the things that you'll want to make sure you have in house to help cook if you want to cook with me, or if you think you might want to make what I'm going to say. I'm also going to do my best to start getting ahead of the recipes so that they're already available to you. So nobody there, nobody's going to tell me what they like in their fruit salad. Anyway, cheers. Now, as a kid, I would get a bowl and eat one fruit at a time. I used to do that on my plate too, only ate one thing at a time. And yes, I will save this just for myself. I'll eat it over the next couple of days. But now that I'm older, I don't mind all the tastes together. Okay. All right. So let's talk about this experiment. One turned out great. One is way overdone. But the white part was not done when the yellow was getting done. So I'm going to leave this in here because I think it does need to cook a little bit longer. But I'm going to get a fork. I'm going to go grab that Hollandaise. And well, we're making Easter breakfast. Jeannie. We're making Easter breakfast. This is a riff on eggs Benedict. One turned out great. One did not. This one has a lovely runny yolk. And then I have a gluten-free English muffin in the bottom, and what we call in the United States Canadian bacon. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the Hollandaise to it. And this is my first time trying this. I just kind of got a wild idea, to be honest, and wasn't sure how it would turn out. Okay, so here's something I can tell you right now. I needed to toast this English muffin because it's kind of fallen apart. So I'm just going to I'm going to go with that. I'm going to make it kind of a mush. And let it be all mushed up. And we'll try that with the Hollandaise. So there's a gluten-free English muffin in here. There's some Canadian bacon. There's some Hollandaise now. And a cooked egg on top. So it was kind of a baked egg instead of a poached one. I know a lot of people are intimidated by poached eggs, so I thought, oh, we'll see if this will work. Okay, it tastes great. Looks a mess, but it tastes great. And honestly, this is probably going to be my lunch. So, I'm going to move these for you guys. And again, the Hollandaise on it was amazing. I'm actually going to warm this up. That'll keep my eggs warm later. Put this back over there. So, and Jeannie, just so you know, this is only like my second live cooking like this. So I'm learning a lot as we go. I'm far from being a professional at this point. So, now I'm going to pull this guy out. As with any baked good, it's going to have to sit for a while and cool off. But there is the gluten-free mix, the gluten-free cinnamon swirl mix. Next week, I'm going to try something different with these because this stuff is so good. I know my family's going to eat it, and it's going to be wonderful. We're going to try cupcakes, and cupcakes with gluten-free is a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and put this over here for you guys, and then I'm going to go grab the frittata, and we'll see how that turned out. So all right, I got to go close my oven. I'll be right back. Okay. Isn't she a beauty? Isn't she gorgeous? Love it. All right, I'm going to put another one of these here. Just because I think that's a little close to the surface of the table. So you could eat it just like that. You could put more cheese on it. Frankly, I think it'd be good with some of the Hollandaise. So I think I might try it that way. I can't use metal on this, so I'm going to go grab my Hollandaise back. And I am going to get something to cut this with that's not metal. Okay. Well, part of why I don't practice 20 times is because the amount of money that would cost and the amount of food waste that would create is something that would really bother me. And you know what? When we try things in our own kitchen, we don't get to try it 20 times before we feed it to our families. And this is something I do all the time. I can tell you the first cut of a frittata is never pretty, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not being perfect, and I'm okay with making mistakes because we all do. So that's part of it. Some things that I make, and that's just it. I've made fruit salad a gazillion times. I've made quick breads many times before. But I decided to try an experiment with you guys. I've made frittatas many, many times. So, you know, I'm pretty sure about how a lot of that's going to turn out. But we tried the other one. So, and that was it was an experiment. And honestly, it doesn't taste bad. So I would call that, you know, needs work, but it was successful. So as a matter of fact, one of the people that I know on this app, hang on, I forgot to turn off my timer. One of the people I know, she actually is recording all of her mistakes. She's trying to make oma rice, if you know what that is. It's it is a basically it's an omelet over a thing of rice, and she has failed at it at least 33 times. I haven't looked since Friday, but she failed at it at least 33 times, and she's recording her failures. So anyway, here's what I've got. This is what I would, it's a simple breakfast that you can serve if you're just having a few people over. I've got the frittata. Like I said, the eggs benedict thing didn't turn out as well as I'd like. I might try that again. Fruit salad with whatever you want in there, because you're the one who has to eat it. And then for me, because I'm gluten-free, of course, I've got this. Now, what I would probably do, or will probably do because my family likes it too, we'll do a glaze over that, just a glaze drizzle, and everybody will be happy. Or they'll put whipped cream on it or something like that. So there you have it. I actually did it in just a little over an hour this time. I'm really excited. Next week we're going to do, like I said, an Easter brunch. It could also be a Mother's Day brunch, to be honest. But we're going to do something really rather simple. I'm going to be making deviled eggs, and I will show you how you can really speed up that process in so many ways. When my dad used to make deviled eggs, he made 2 dozen, and it used to take him 3 hours. I have gotten it down to, if I make 2 dozen eggs, I can do it in about an hour. With my husband usually peels them for me, but with him doing it, we do it in about an hour. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, subscribe and you'll know when we're doing that next Monday. And until then, I appreciate all of you being here. I appreciate the questions, and I will see you guys next week. Have a great one.